Shin Sang-ok and Choi Eun-hee were a South Korean couple, known for establishing the Shin Film Production Company, and together, throughout the 60s and early 70s, the couple produced many films together. However, eventually their relationship fell apart and the two divorced and went their separate ways. Unfortunately for them, fate would bring them back together in the most bizarre of ways. In 1966, Kim Jong Il, son of then-dictator Kim Il-sung, joined the propaganda and agitation department of the North Korean government, and soon became the director of the Motion Arts Division, commissioning and producing films that depicted his father in a good and strong light. This was a normal, state-mandated goal. However, Kim Jong-il also had two personal aims that he wanted to achieve as the one man who was essentially in control of the North Korean film industry. Firstly, due to the poor quality of North Korean cinema, the government, in an attempt at keeping up the semblance that they could keep their impoverished population entertained, allowed a careful selection of Western films to be shown to the North Korean public in the few cinemas located in Pyongyang and on the often static government-issued home television sets. This was unacceptable to Kim Jong-il, who stated, "If we continually show Western films on television, show them without restraint, then only nihilistic thought can come about. Patriotism. We have to increase this, but we only make them idolize Western things, so we must advance the technology before opening." Essentially, Kim Jong-il wanted to remove as much Western influence on the North Korean population as possible, and to create a uniquely Korean form of entertainment, one that would keep the North Korean population intellectually stimulated, while still keeping within governmental control. Secondly, much like his father's aim of wanting North Korea to be taken seriously on the world stage, he wanted North Korean cinema to be recognized throughout the world for its technical and artistic achievements. One only has to look at other communist countries of the time, like the Soviet Union, to see why Kim Jong-il would want to emulate this. North Korean cinema at the time was fairly poor in terms of quality, and not up to the standard that Kim Jong-il wanted to elevate it to, and lagged far behind South Korea's film industry, which by this point had swung into full gear. Despite his ideological hate for South Koreans, Kim Jong-il supposedly had this to say about the South Korean film industry when compared to the North's. North Korean film industry people knew that the state would feed them even if they performed only minimally, so they didn't try hard. But South Koreans have to earn money, and thus expended blood, sweat and tears to get results. It was from this admiration of South Korean filmmaking and Kim Jong-il's personal love for the Japanese Godzilla films where the original idea for Pulgasari came about, a North Korean version of the highly successful and critically acclaimed Godzilla films. Kim Jong-il did not trust any North Korean director to pull off such a feat, and desperately wanted the South Korean director Shin Sang-ok to direct the film. However, Kim Jong-il faced a major obstacle. Shin Sang-ok would never be allowed to work in North Korea by his government. However, there was a radical solution to this. Kidnap. This was easier said than done, as it would be too risky to kidnap him in South Korea, and so therefore, a plan was hatched. In January 1978, Choi Eun-hee was in Hong Kong, where she was hoping to secure both a job directing a film and running a performing arts academy, when she was suddenly kidnapped by North Korean agents. Upon her arrival in North Korea, she was paraded around Pyongyang and various important locations in North Korea by her captors. After re-education that included daily lessons about the wisdom and blessings of Kim Il-sung, Choi Eun-hee was forced to essentially hang out with Kim Jong-il. He took her to operas, films, and social events such as parties. This was all part of Kim Jong-il's extended plan to kidnap Shin Sang-ok, as he hoped that despite them being divorced for several years, he would still go looking for her when she disappeared. And it appeared that the bait worked, as after 6 months after the original kidnapping, Shin went to Hong Kong to look for Choi, and was also snatched by North Korean agents. The two were eventually reunited and forced to live together in a lavishly decorated apartment in the center of Pyongyang. Once reunited, the couple were told on several occasions that they were to tell anyone who asked that they came to North Korea willingly. Not even the two kidnap victims themselves are sure what would have happened to them if they had said otherwise. The first instructions that the couple received was that they were to watch 4 films a day, each selected from Kim Jong-il's personal collection of 15,000 films. And by the end of the day, they were to present a critique of all the films to Kim Jong-il. Once the couple knew what kind of films Kim Jong-il liked, he then revealed his plan to them. He wanted the couple to produce films that North Korea could enter into international film competitions. He also divulged to the couple that he was aware that internal propaganda films did not do well on the world market, and that he had chosen the couple to give the North Korean film industry a competitive edge. The couple would go on to produce numerous films under great pressure from Kim Jong Il, who gave them all the resources they could possibly need to make these films. These films include An Emissary of No Return, Love Love My Love, Runaway, Salt, The Tale of Shin Chong, and perhaps most interestingly and famous of all, 1985's Pulgasari.
日本上陸1万人以上の群衆が繰り広げる驚異のスペクタクル壮大なスケールで展開する破壊のカタルシス今熱いシーンに登場する全世界が待って
As stated before, Kim Jong Il had been a personal fan of the Godzilla films for a long time, and felt a strong story could be told by emulating this type of monster movie. He also felt that this type of film would be the one to impress Westerners the most, and so urged the couple to put their own spin on the Japanese kaiju film. The basic plot of Pulgasari is as follows. A blacksmith who was sent to prison for standing up to the evil king of the land creates a small doll of a monster and asks the gods of earth and sky to give the monster life, in the hopes that it will protect the righteous rebels fighting against the corrupt and evil king. It appeared that the couple achieved Kim Jong-il's aim of creating a film viable for the world market. Despite being produced in an incredibly repressed environment, the film isn't that bad on a technical level. And this is due to the main standout feature of the film, and that is the special effects of the monster. The longtime actor who characterized Godzilla and stepped into the suit countless times, Kenpachiro Satsuma, played the monster Pulgasari. The monster suit itself was designed by Toho Studios' visual effects team that worked on every single Godzilla film up until that point. Both Satsuma and the visual effects team were tricked into working on the film by being told that they were on their way to make a film in China. Imagine their surprise when they arrived in North Korea. The entire kidnapping fiasco and production of these films can best be summed up by Paul Fisher in his book, A Kim Jong-il Production. There were thousands dying in North Korea, but at the same time, here comes Kim Jong-il, with his idea of advancing the regime's purposes by kidnapping two South Korean filmmakers, tricking a Japanese film crew into coming to North Korea, and drowning them all in gifts and luxury, just so that they can play with rubber monster suits and make a Godzilla ripoff. This story does have somewhat of a happy ending, as both Shin Sang-ok and Choi Yun-hee managed to escape North Korean custody by seeking asylum at a US embassy when on tour in Vienna in 1986. The couple managed to prove that they had not willingly gone to North Korea, and they did this by providing secret recordings of Kim Jong-il openly talking about his plots to kidnap them and force them to make films for him, like some sort of evil Bond villain. Choi Yun-hee moved back to South Korea immediately, while Shin Sang-ok stayed in the US, making films before also returning to South Korea, and both managed to live out the rest of their lives in relative peace, maintaining a healthy relationship with each other and reuniting at long last with their families. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We do videos like this every Friday. Thank you again for watching.